Welcome to How to Be a Great Player. This is part 2 of the different types of character that you can play. And as promised, we're going to go through the full gambit of what's remaining. And there are quite a few that you might find a little bit surprising and definitely will find brings something different to your game. Let's start right off. The loner. The loner is a character type that I see created all too frequently by people wanting to create interesting characters. These are the individuals who are self-sufficient and they're thoughtful and they want to go off and do things their way. That is the worst type of character you could possibly play for this game. And there's a very simple reason. Role-playing requires at least one character and a GM. If you have a loner who wants to go off and do his own thing, then you no longer have a GM. You have a facilitator who's going to make up stories centered around the one. And if you're in a group and you create a loner, why would the loner stay in the group? And more importantly, why would the group bother to keep the loner around? I get fairly frustrated when players say, oh, he's an aloof character who has his own inner demons and wants to pursue his own things and doesn't care about what the party's doing. Well then, excuse the French, fuck off. Go and explore your own story on your own with your own GM. You really don't need to be playing role-playing games. I have a very strong opinion about people who create loners. This is a collaborative game. The solver. Now the solver is a challenging class to play because the solver's keywords are questioning and, you guessed it, problem solving. For a game like Dungeons and Dragons, sometimes the problem is, it's a great big dragon. So problem solving would be relatively easy. Or would it? The problem solver, the solver, is not necessarily just trying to solve the issue of the dragon. It might be to try and solve the repercussions thereafter. It might be trying to solve problems within the characters. So rather than trying to overcome the defenses of that grand starship, it's about working out just why the captain is so unhappy. And can you do anything about it to solve it? The solver should also be asking questions, and whenever there's some kind of incident that has happened, the solver should be at the forefront of the investigation, trying to work out what exactly happened. And they shouldn't rest until they have done so. Now, the problem solver is not the one who's going to be leading the group. The problem solver needs to go to the leader and say, I need the following resources. Please marshal these things for me. They need to go to the conscience and say, why would someone do something like this? What is your thought on the subject? So the solver is really about bringing together the party to try and find the right story. And so that can be quite taxing, especially if your party doesn't really have all of the answers. So the solver, in my opinion, is one of the more interesting classes to play. They're not really interested in the bigger picture. Take Sherlock Holmes, one of my favorite characters, for example. He's a solver. Sure, he leads, but that's simply because there isn't anyone else to do it. But give him a case, and that's all he's interested in. He will solve it. House is another great example, although House is based on Holmes. The idea of solving the medical mystery is more important to him than the confrontation in terms of leading things. He just wants to be able to solve. And that creates some great party dynamics. The adventurer. Now I know this might sound like a little bit of a duh statement. Aren't all the characters adventurers? Well, yes and no. All of the characters are there to go on an adventure, yes. But the adventurer is the little one who prods the party to go just a bit further. The solver might say, well, we've solved the mystery of the leprechauns and why they were attacking the village. We can now rest easy. The conscience might say, and we have put the leprechauns at rest. They are no longer conflicted. The dependable might say, well, I've done my job. I protected everybody. Everybody made out alive. I am fulfilled. The adventurer will be the one going, there was that door that we didn't go through. The adventurer is always upbeat and is always adventurous. Again, it sounds like I'm telling you what you already know. But think about it. How many players, when they are faced with a dungeon, will explore the entire dungeon? Perhaps not a lot. Unless your party are all adventurers, in which case you will go through every single cupboard to make sure that you haven't missed anything. But you just need one adventurer in the party, one little mischief causer to go, well, let's just look around the corner. Well, let's just prod the dragon. They're not too concerned with consequences. They know that they could happen. They're not stupid by any means, but they're the ones who just want to see over the next corner. They can be quite fun to play. The protector is different from the dependable. The dependable is someone who is always there and who will always do the same thing. The protector is somebody who will go out of their way to make sure that everybody is safe, or that whatever it is that they're protecting is safe. In grand terms, one might go, oh, that's just a paladin. They look after everybody and they make sure everything is safe. Well, the keywords for protector are strong and justice orientated. That almost sounds more like a vigilante to me than a paladin. A paladin doesn't have to be strong. He has his faith. He doesn't have to be justice orientated. He has his faith. So a protector is somebody who has taken a very hard stance on a particular point of view and will stick to it no matter what, and they will die trying to protect it. So the protector might choose their party as the thing they are willing to die for and the thing they are willing to protect. But think of it in role-playing terms. What if the party, led by an adventurous type, head up to the king and elect to do a mission of grave danger? The protector should be stepping forward saying, I don't think we should do this. This is simply beyond our capacity. He's not negative. He's not pessimistic. He's trying to protect everybody. And then once they decide to go ahead and do it anyway, then he should do his damnedest to make sure that they are absolutely as safe as possible. So it can be quite a demanding role, and one that I think has great scope for role-playing. There's a lot of conflict that can arise out of trying to protect people from themselves. The ambassador. The ambassador is the peacekeeper and should be relatively easygoing. There are leaders who choose a course and then have to stick to it. It's their job. They have to make decisions and then they have to stick to those decisions. The ambassador is not the person who makes decisions. The ambassador weighs up all of the options, brings together everything that everyone has brought to the table, presents it to the leader, and then acts as an intermediary between the leader and the party. To be an ambassador is particularly difficult because you might disagree with the leader, but at the same time, the leader is the leader for a reason. They have to be respected. So sometimes the ambassador works with the party in terms of we're taking this to the leader, but sometimes the ambassador has to work against the party. The leader has said this, we should do this. Oftentimes parties don't have an ambassador. It is split into factions. The party splits up, one going this way, one going that way, and that's it. There was no protector saying, we should not split up this party. It would not make sense. We should stay together. Because there are too many adventurers running off, trying to look around that corner and this corner at the same time. Throw an ambassador into the mix and suddenly, I agree, we should explore both options. But I think we should go with the left first, because that's the direction the leader had elected to go. But leader, you must agree that we will return and go down the right path as well. In role-playing, we don't stand back a little and look at our characters from a what would they do perspective. We might think that we do. We might sit back and go, well, I know that my character's brash and that my character's this, that, and the next thing. But how often do you stick to that? How often do you say, well, my character is stubborn, but what's his redeeming feature? So the thing that I like about the types, the dependable, the conscience, the leader, the soul, the loner. I don't like the loner. All right, I'll give you that much. The solver, the adventurer, the protector, the ambassador, the adventurer. The thing that I like about types is that they are not describing in any way your alignment, your worldview, your approach to life. It is simply giving you a set of keywords that will allow you to look at any kind of situation, any kind of engagement, and find an angle to bring your character into the story. Don't be the wallflower who just listens to the story. You might enjoy that. But would it not be more enjoyable if you could say, well, I'm the artist, I'm the soul. So I don't really need to speak to the king or to the prince or to the captain of the Death Star. There I go again. There's no captains on the Death Star. Well, there are, but they're not of the Death Star. You get the point. Why not look at it from a different perspective? As the soul, you're looking for beauty. Is the beauty not perhaps in the conversation or in the design of the structure itself? Work with your DM. Give them options to allow them to bring you into the story. Yes, you don't have to stand in every single conversation and say, oh, I look at the beams and the architecture and I think it's quite nice. Look for reasons to get involved. Look for reasons why your character would get involved. Because the GM can only tell so many stories and can only weave you into the plot if you give him something to weave you in with. A lot of people assume the GM is telling the story, I have created my character, I have all of my stats, and that's it. It's not true. And you've heard me say it numerous times. You are as responsible for the story as the game master is. And if you're not having fun, it's because maybe the game master's missed the cue that you are not interested in the campaign. But if you're feeling left out, it's entirely up to you to get yourself in there. And what better way than to say, well, my character is dependable. So I am going to make sure that in any kind of conversation, I am supporting my party. I will make sure they have whatever they need. Or I am the protector. So I'm going to listen to this conversation, and the moment I hear something that says to me, danger, I'm going to step in. You're part of the story creating process. And the more you participate, the better the process will be, the better the experience will be. Enough about me ranting on about you getting yourself involved in something that could just be the greatest adventure of your life. Until next time, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, watch Bacon. My players have an absolute blast running around causing all kinds of mayhem and chaos. I hope this really does help improve your game in some small way. If it does, hit that subscribe button. We love having more subscribers. It encourages us to do more. There's some very exciting things happening. If you haven't checked out the website yet, www.greatgamemaster.com or www.baconrpg.com. They link to the same site. It's packed full of stuff. Go and check it out. We are launching something very soon as my webmaster and his goblin teams have pulled together the necessary resources, which may allow you to participate in something in the near future. Until then, happy gaming.